Hey everybody, it's Chris from Retzone. I was watching one of my favorite YouTubers, Modern Vintage Gamer, and he talked about how Duckstation could be installed on the Xbox Series S and X. And I thought I would like to make a video about this because I tried it for myself, and it looks like it's one of the best PlayStation emulators right now. This PlayStation emulator is available for Windows, x86, x64, ARM. It's also available for Android. It's in the Google Play Store. You can get the source code. There is also pre-compiled binaries for Linux, and you can also get the source code and compile it for Mac if you want to, or compile it for Windows or even Linux if you're into that. So I just wanted to go over a few of the settings here. What I like about this is with very little tweaking, you can get this to emulate PlayStation games right out of the box, whether you actually own a bunch of PlayStation games or if you have ISOs. So I'm just going to go through the settings here just to go over a few things, just to show you how it works. So the one thing you will need is you'll have to obtain an original PlayStation BIOS. Doesn't matter which one, doesn't matter which region it is. Region will matter because it'll have to match whatever game images you're trying to boot. I don't know if there's a universal BIOS, but I just use the standard 1001 North American BIOS just to play the games because I was running actual games with this. So you just put the BIOS into the correct folder, and as you saw earlier in the video, it boots up the BIOS. If you don't have an image loaded, it boots into the memory card manager or the CD player, which nobody uses. Under console settings here, you set your region. You can set read ahead for the CD-ROM. I set it to the max, which is 213 kilobytes. This particular computer has 32 gigs of RAM, so RAM isn't a problem. I haven't touched the speed up or seek speed up. I know some games are hard coded for the 2x, so I just leave it at that, and it seems to work fine. I haven't actually booted any ISOs with this yet. I've just booted actual discs that I own, and I've had no problems. The only game that gave me problems, and this has nothing to do with Duckstation, was Silhouette Mirage. I could not get that to read in the PC, so I'm thinking it has maybe some kind of copyright protection. Just to make sure I haven't been dealing with bit rot, I just popped it into my PlayStation and it booted normally and worked fine. So it's a later game, I think, so it may have some copy protection. So under emulation speed, I just left it 100%, 60 frames a second. I haven't touched any of these yet. I wanted to just see if I could get this running with very minimal tweaking, because the previous emulator I used, because in EPSXE you had to tweak and try different things and whatever to get it to work. This is almost an out-of-the-box experience. The only thing I chose was a few basic options, and boom, this thing ran. Set up the BIOS, choose how much upscaling you want to do, and boom, it just ran the game. Worked perfectly with my controller. So I felt I had to make a video of this because it's so well done. I haven't gone through any of these settings. I had to go and just set up the buttons and the D-pad. By default, it puts the memory cards in my documents for some reason. I've just left it there for now. I don't really like that, but display settings. Now here's what I like. You can run this in Direct3D 11, 12, Vulkan, OpenGL, or you can be crazy and use software. I chose Vulkan because I really like Vulkan. You can choose your adapter if you have more than one. I turned VSync on. These two options were on already, so I just left them. I just left basically all of these options here. Now under enhancement settings, this is where it gets interesting. I set it to 5x for the internal resolution scale, so that gives me 1080p. I have a 1440p monitor. It looks perfect at this resolution. Now you can put it at 9x for 4K, and then one of these options is 8K. So you could scale up PSX games into 8K if you wanted to, which is, in my opinion, ridiculous. Texture filtering, I just left it to nearest neighbor. The textures look really good. Scale dithering, I just left that. I believe that was turned on already. Disable interlacing, yeah, I definitely... This was on by default, but this is something I would have turned on regardless. The only other thing that I changed was the texture correction and geometry correction and culling correction. Now these don't seem to work in all the games, but most of the time it will stop the watery texture from happening. Okay, under post-processing settings here, I haven't turned any of these on yet, so I'm not sure, but I'm sure you can, as you can see here, it's the worst shaders. You can add shaders and probably pixelization effects and such. I haven't played with these yet. I will down the road, but I kind of like my games vanilla. I haven't changed anything in the audio settings. These two options are enabled by default. Achievement settings, I didn't even look in here, and I haven't played with any of these, so. This is the author of Duckstation. His name is Connor McLaughlin. He's also known as Stenzek. And until I had a look at this, I didn't realize how involved he was with the emulation community. So he's got Duckstation, PCX2, RetroArch, Dolphin, LibRetro, PSX SPX, PSSX Redux, LibCHDR, PS1 tests. So he's really involved with the emulation community, which is fantastic. I want to thank him for making this emulator possible, because it, in my opinion, is one of the best PSX emulators. So I have an NVIDIA Shield, so I'm going to be downloading Duckstation from the Google Play Store and seeing how well it runs. I also have RetroArch installed on my Shield. I believe I have the Duckstation core already installed. If not, I'll be installing it and doing some testing with that, because I'm curious to see how the ARM version of this runs. I'm sure it'll be just the same as x64/x86. Even though Duckstation is one of the better PlayStation emulators in my opinion, it does have some minor glitches in some of the games I played. Nothing game-breaking, but as you can see in the Thunder Force 5 footage here, the background texture is repeated and scaled incorrectly for this sequence. It doesn't really take away anything from the game, and I mean, Duckstation is still considered to be in beta right now, so I don't even really care, to be honest. Other than that, the game is 100% playable. The sound is authentic. There's no tearing. There's no stutter. It just runs really good. Another glitch I noticed was the clock face at the beginning of Castlevania Symphony of the Night. As you ascend the stairs, the clock face doesn't render properly until you get to the top of the stairs. Not a big deal, but I'm sure they'll work that bug out as well. Now let's get on to some gameplay and see how this runs actual discs.
Die, monster! You don't belong in this world!
It was not by my hand that I'm once again given flesh. I was called here by humans who wish to pay me tribute.
Tribute? You steal men's souls and make them your slaves.
Perhaps the same could be said of all religions.
Your words are as empty as your soul. Mankind ill needs a savior such as you.
What is a man? A miserable little pile of secrets. But enough talk. Have at you!
Here we have the opening sequence to Castlevania Symphony of the Night. It plays perfectly except for that clock face glitch I mentioned earlier that you saw a few seconds ago in the video. The sound is great, the control is great, there's no stuttering, the audio is fantastic, the music sounds as good as the original. Now I'll shut up now so you can watch a bit more. It's been so long that I actually played Castlevania Symphony the other night, I've forgotten how epic the soundtrack is for this game. And after making this little video, I actually want to play through the game now. And now on to the next part. We'll see Alucard enter the castle and talk to Death. Again, I'll shut up so you can watch.
Alucard, what is your business here?
I've come to put an end to this.
Still befriending mortals. I'll not ask you to return to our side, but I demand you cease your attack.
I will not.
You shall regret those words. We will meet again.
What?
Okay, time to move on to a different game. This one is King of Fighters Millennium Battle 99. Let's have a look at this one. This one plays really well. There are no glitches that I can see of. I'm not a huge fighting guy, but I managed to pull off a victory, which is kind of amazing. Load times don't seem to be too bad. I haven't actually played this on a real PlayStation since I got in the game, so I'm not sure if that's improved at all. But the audio sounds fantastic. The game looks good. There's no visual tearing. The controls are crisp, and it just runs really well. So again, I'll shut up so you can have a watch and listen to this.
Fight!
And here we have Spyro the Dragon. This ran flawlessly. I could not detect any issues with this game. It looks and runs perfectly. So, again, I'll be quiet so you can watch the clip.
Treasure, or is it 14,000? What about this Ganasty Gnorc character? Now, I understand he's found a magic spell to turn gems into warriors for his cause.
I'll take that question. Nasty Nork is a simple creature. Simple! He has been contained in a remote world and is no threat to the Dragon Kingdom. No threat! Besides, he is ugly. Ugly? That does it!
Looks like I've got some things to do.
Thank you for releasing me, Spyro. Free 10 dragons in the artisan world. Then find the balloonist. He'll transport you to the next world.
What about Nasty Nork? I'm going after him.
Find dragons first. That's all I can tell you.
The next game is a personal favorite of mine, Einhander. I played through the first couple of levels using Duckstation and I couldn't detect any problems with it at all. The textures look great, the controls are fantastic, there's no stuttering, no visual tearing, nothing. So here's a clip of the first level and the first level boss. In summary, if you're looking for an easy to use, easy to set up PlayStation 1 emulator, Duckstation is your go-to now. This will run on a potato or anything above a potato. You have options to run it in full speed hack mode or in full cycle by cycle perfection mode, which will imitate an actual PlayStation console. Now the caveat is speed hack is for older machines and full cycle by cycle interpretation is for higher end machine. Like I said, on my Ryzen 7 it averages about 55% CPU usage, but the games run flawlessly and they look great. If you see any stutter or anything during this video, this is not coming from the emulator. That's just OBS being a jerk. Sometimes it does it, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know why. So, if you're looking for a good PS1 emulator, go for Duckstation. That's it for this Retzone video. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, we'll see you in the next video.